Hey guys, welcome to tonight's video. I know I got off a little while ago, but then I had to eat dinner, fold clothes, and put another load in the washer, so I got all the clothes washing and drying, and then I have to fold everything up. So it has been a very interesting last couple of days. And I am going to this is my second episode of Big Sisterly Advice. I did the first episode, now we're going to do the second. And we're going to talk today. Last time we talked about, choosing a good partner and waiting and not rushing into things. Now we're going to talk about standing on your own and being independent and learning and growing from your mistakes. I am going to give a prime example from my past. If you don't know who I am, my name is Topanga Jamison. I have been on YouTube for about almost 3 years now. And I've done videos, I've done content that was 1950s, I've done a little bit of everything. And I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. So today we're going to talk about learning from your mistakes and growing from them. When I was younger, I had a temper, and I get it from my big sister, honestly, and her and I both had tempers, and we were very stubborn. Well, I'm very stubborn, and so was she. And when I was 17 and a half, I thought I knew everything. Wouldn't listen, wouldn't take advice, thought I knew everything, God, what is wrong with my hair today? And thought that I knew all the answers. And sometimes I still struggle with that, and I'm learning from my mistakes. But when I was younger, because I had a lot of health issues with scoliosis, asthma, and when I was in grade school and middle school, I had a lot of problems with allergies, and they wanted to put me on a respirator, but my mom would not let them. She did not think it was a good idea. She got advice from another doctor that it would not be a good idea. The other doctor was like, hey, you just have asthma. Well, when I was 17, I got in an argument with my doctor. But I was 2 days from turning 18, so... And by the way, if you're wondering what I am using, I'm using Tubes & Co. skincare products, and I am using the Seabook Thuron Cleansing Oil, and we're going to start off with that. So, I did not agree with this doctor. A lot of things, my mom didn't really agree with him. But because we lived in a very, very small town, there wasn't really a lot of doctors that specialized in scoliosis or knew how to handle certain situations. My mom did not agree with my pediatrician, and usually you keep a pediatrician in the States until you are 22, unless you find another doctor or go to another doctor. Well, me and my doctor got in an argument, and I feel really bad, and I have apologized, and I've worked on my anger, I've worked on myself, but we got in an argument, and he threatened to call the cops. That's how bad it got. So at the time, he threatened to call the cops. They said, we will have her arrested. I didn't really agree with Botox injections, especially in the way that my doctor did them. He did it my ankle, where to this day, my ankle is so weak that I have to do special stretches and exercises to get it. And later came to find out that he did not have these certifications to do Botox injections, because there are certain certifications you have to do. He eventually did lose his license. And he was a very in your face. It was his way or the highway. And if you didn't like it, that sucks to be you. So I ended up I get kicked out of that doctor, and it was about several months or more before we found one that was willing to take me on. And when I say it was several months or more, I am not kidding with you. I am not playing with you. It was several months or more. So the first incident, they forgave me. They were like, whatever. Then my mom had made a comment that she no longer wanted to do the Botox injections. She did not feel like they were working and didn't want to do surgery, and he kept forcing it down her throat. My mom wanted to get a second opinion, but like I said, we lived in a very small town where there wasn't a lot of doctors that could treat. Now I'm going in with the brightening tonic from Tubes & Co. I do have more of this. I'm just using this bottle so I can get it all used up, so I can free space. So at this point in time, I thought I knew everything, and I was learning and growing. And there was an incident that we had that my mom didn't agree with how he handled it. And she didn't really like him as a doctor because he was more in your face and told you like it was. His wife was nicer than him, and I'm still actually in contact with his wife. I say hello to her. She really likes me. She's cool. She actually watches my channel sometimes. But he ended up losing his license. I don't remember for what, and I don't know. But he shouldn't. He was very. So this happened in February of 2007. So it was just before I graduated, because I had already graduated because December already happened. So I had already graduated, and I started going to a doctor, and I was 18, so I didn't really need anybody there, and I liked this doctor a lot. But every doctor until this point hung up on me, because when you get in a disagreement with a doctor, it makes you look bad. And a lot of people for a very long time would not treat me. I couldn't even go to the local hospital in my hometown for a very long time because of our disagreement. Everybody thought I was a bad apple, except for one person. And she really made me want to become a doctor because the way she treated me. Her name was Dr. Nicole Lopez, and she was amazing. And we had met prior. She had actually worked for the pediatrician office when she was doing her internship when she was a baby doctor. And we had met, and we met years later, and she's really cool. And she's the reason I wanted to become a doctor. She took a chance on me when nobody else would. Everybody told her not to take a chance on me. To this day, I feel bad for the way I handled things, and if I could go back in time, I know I would change it. Moral of the story, never let your anger get the best of you. The second story I'm going to tell is about grief. We've all experienced a loss. I have experienced several family members that are not here with me anymore, and I'm going to share my experiences with grief and loss. I was asked to do this video by one of my viewers. I've touched on a little bit of my grief throughout this, talking about my aunt who had cancer, talking about certain family member. I had 2 aunts that had cancer, and it was pretty rough. So my experience, I'm a person who is a workaholic. If I could work every day, 12-hour shifts, I'd probably do it. I am the person who doesn't like having days off. I hate it. If I had just one day off, I'd be good. I could get my housework done, get my laundry done, get everything done, and not have to worry about it. Things changed for me in 2012. Things started becoming in perspective. My aunt had gone in for a routine gallbladder surgery. My mom was going to come up there, and I was going to go with her because I had taken some time off from working as a nanny, and I was going to go with her. At this point in time, we were told not to come, so we didn't. And then we found out that there was a medical mistake that was made during surgery, and my aunt suffered because of that. A routine gallbladder removal surgery turned into a nightmare for my family. Me and my aunt had the most rockiest relationship. I loved her to death, but we didn't always see eye to eye on certain things, and we didn't always get each other's point of view. Fast forward, last year, she passed away. She had a brave battle with liver cancer that had spread to her whole body. Me and my aunt, right after my aunt had the surgery, we didn't really talk much, and I didn't give her my new number. And so one day she came up. She surprised me. I was at work. She surprised me. We get in the car, we go to dinner. At this time, I am dating somebody. We're engaged to get married. I've talked about my ex James on this channel. James actually met my aunt before he met other members of my family. So me, James, and my aunt went out to dinner. And my aunt took pictures of us. I did not know she was sick until we were talking later that day. I was told not to tell my mom, not to tell anybody in my family, that she had to have a Roux-en-Y kind of surgery, and she explained to me that there were complications in her gallbladder surgery. I was so angry at my aunt. I don't even remember what started me being so angry, but I was just hurt. I didn't always see eye to eye with my aunt, and I wish I hadn't spent so much time being angry. I wish things had ended a little bit differently. Fast forward to last year. My sister, my uncle, my aunt, my mom, and my nieces and nephews all made the long trek from 15 different states, one country, and we all went to be by her bedside. She really wanted to ring the bell. Like, when she was always sad because she would hear other people when she was doing chemo, and she would want to ring the bell. She never got to. And sometimes that makes me really sad. I remember her for the good times. I try not to remember the times she was sick, and I try to remember the times we went shopping, or the times she let me try on her wedding dress. I remember the time I was the flower girl in her wedding. It has been a year since she passed, and it was on July 7th. She left this world to go be with Jesus. It didn't really affect me because I knew where she was going. But then I got to realize, she won't be there when I graduate college next year, or when I walk down the aisle, whenever that happens. So I kind of was like, that's kind of sad. And the second time I have dealt with grief was when I was 19, and I've touched a little bit on this in my videos, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. That will be another video for another time. And there is a moral to both stories, and I'll explain it if you just bear with me. When I was 19 years old, me and my sister had been so close when I was younger. I was her shadow. We did everything together. We were very close. I always wanted to be just like her when I grew up. I always wanted to have 2 beautiful children, or 4. I wanted to live in a quiet little area like she did, and I wanted to have a career and everything. When I was 19, my world was rocked. And I dealt with the first experience with grief. People tell you, oh, grief goes away with time. No, you just learn how to cope. There are days where I still think about the people who have gone, or I think about, oh, if I should have said this. And I've always wondered if we didn't go on that vacation, or if we didn't do things, would this person still be here? Grief is hard. When you're left and you're the one that's grieving, it's difficult. When you lose a significant other, a sister, it's different. I lost my ex. We were not together at the time. We had taken a mini break, and we had been together from the time I was sorry about that. I forgot to put up the sheets. Thank you. Okay. So me and James had been together from when I was 17 and a half to I was 23. We got back together briefly for a short time and stayed together for 3 more years, and then officially broke up. What would have been our 12-year anniversary together, not married, just together, he decided that there were things going on in his life. He was dealing with his demons. I was working on myself to be a better person, and we were both trying to be better people, even if we didn't get back together, so we could be better people for what lied ahead in our futures. We had talked 2 hours prior to the incident that occurred. And he told me that even though we had our rocky moments, he wouldn't change anything about us. He wouldn't change one single thing. He said he wished he had been a better person at certain things, and I told him, that goes both ways. I should have been a better person in most ways as well. We ended up ending the conversation, and I was at work, and I kept getting a call from his sister. This was in 2022. And his sister called me, and she said, is there any way you could go on your break or your lunch break? So I asked my boss if I could take my hour lunch break. And I was working for Cox Communications at the time, but I was working from home. I had just gotten off the phone with one of our VIP clients, and I was helping him straighten out his account, and she goes, hey, are you sitting down? I said, yeah. She said, I have some bad news. I said, okay. I said, what's going on? She tells me that her brother had committed suicide. And I asked because, James had a daughter named Susie, and I asked, was Susie with him? And she goes, no, Susie's with her grandmother on her mom's side. The mom didn't get to have custody, but the grandma got to see her. So I sat there, and we were thinking about getting back together, but we didn't. Even though, things happen, and my moral of the story, life is short. Don't always leave the things you want to say unsaid. Say them, pray about it, and live your life to the fullest. Don't take any moment, any day for a chance, because we're not promised one day on this earth by God. So every day is a gift, and we should all live it, because life is so short. I don't know everybody's circumstance who watches this video. Y'all don't know me from Adam. I'm just a girl who does YouTube channels, who sometimes looks like a dork. Let's be honest. But I hope that if you have a relationship that is fractured and the person is still here, I hope you can fix it. I pray for each and every one of you that if you have lost someone, my heart and my prayers go out to every one of y'all. But don't take any moment for granted. Live life to the fullest, because God only gives us one life. We don't get a restart at the end of... It's not like a video game where you can restart it if you mess up. Life is precious. Life is kind. Never leave any words unsaid. Always love with your fullest. Live your life to your fullest. And be thankful for the life you've been given, because it is a precious gift. I thank everybody for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.